Welcome and good morning to Mike Ferry TV. You know, it's interesting to me, maybe not to you, that we're now in either our seventh or eighth year of producing this little short clip for you guys and gals each week. And it's been really fun because we've watched from the beginning where we tried to get 300 to 500 people to actually watch what we call Mike Ferry TV. And today we're up to 15 to 18,000 people per week. Certainly not a major TV show and not a major hit, but you know, it's a step in the right direction. So I just want to say thank you for those that are participating and watching. Over the course of the last, say, 3.5 to 4 weeks, I've got an interesting array of requests. This doesn't happen often. Everybody from the Wall Street Journal to Inman News, which I enjoy reading a lot, and to a lot of newspapers around the country, to national magazines, calling and interviewing me regarding coaching and what's it all about and how does it work. And it's been interesting to me because in each of these interviews I've done, well, first of all, almost nothing I ever say is published, which is always fascinating. I mean, they spend 1 to 3 hours on the phone, then they publish one sentence of what I've said. Welcome to the news media today. I was saying too many things too positive for them to publish. They want negative, nasty, and that's not who I'm going to be or who I will ever become. So it was interesting because every one of these news media places, when they contact me, they say, you know, Mike Ferry, you're known as being the guy that makes people prospect. And I always get a kick out of that because, you know, what we've been teaching for the last, well, almost 40 years now is what we call the Mike Ferry sales system. And I will say this to you, and I really feel very strongly about it. Of all the, several hundred training and coaching companies you could participate in, I really do believe we're the only one that has a step-by-step system devised to help you succeed if you choose to succeed, A, or B, if you choose to follow it. And every one of these reporters, I said, no, we don't just teach prospecting. Now, we all know that prospecting is a fundamental part of any sales job. I mean, you can't have a sales job and not prospect and expect to succeed, period. I don't care what the job is. A politician prospects all the time. Lawyers prospect on TV with advertising. Airlines prospect through the advertising. Everybody prospects except for real estate people, of course. You being a wise one will prospect and succeed. So in every case, I've said no, the Mike Ferry sales system, and I want to review part of it this week and some of it next week with you, because what I want to review with you is the fact that it is a defined system, that if you choose to follow it step by step, you're going to succeed. Now, as long as your attitude is reasonably good, and as long as your approach is at least reasonably good, and your expectations are not, below the poverty line, you're going to use the system to succeed. But the Mike Ferry sales system for reviewing for a lot of you is obviously first managing your time. You have to find a way to manage your time to get positive, productive results each day. And if you don't have a time management system, think about it. What kind of a chance do you really have? And the answer is you have almost no chance at all. Second is lead generation, or what I refer to as prospecting. I'd rather call it lead generation because then you don't have to get mad about prospecting. But the truth is you have to talk to people. And what you're seeing today in our industry is every excuse, every reason why you shouldn't talk to people. Text, tweet, blog, email, Facebook, anything to avoid talking to people. And the truth is, if you don't talk to people, you're not going to succeed. So yeah, I talk about prospecting because guess what? You have to prospect if you're going to succeed, whether it be a for sale by owner or a past client, you have to talk to people. Third, in our system is your ability to do good lead follow-up, not hold on to leads, not have a list of leads, not have, 23 people that may want to someday do something, but specifically calling the people that you've generated as a lead and trying to figure out if you can get an appointment with them, because what's the point of having a lead if you don't have an appointment? I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. So for those of you that are sitting here now in the last month of the year, call your leads and set appointments for this month. Call your leads and set appointments for next month. Why not? Do it today. And then after lead follow-up, we talk a lot about pre-qualifying. Because see, every professional pre-qualifies. Whether it be the doctor taking your blood pressure and temperature, to the attorney asking you a lot of questions, to the pilot using the pre-flight checklist, to you asking certain questions to make sure that buyer or seller is capable of making a decision if you go through the work that you have to go through to make the presentation. So next would be the listing presentation. I got to manage my time. I got to obviously prospect. I got to do lead follow-up. I have to pre-qualify. I got to go out on listing presentations. Now, I'm going to add to that the next step, which is showing property, because both of these are a presentation that you have to make. And the question is, how good are you at making those presentations? If you're not good at the presentation, everything else falls apart. You see, it's our ability to be persuasive, to be excited, to be enthusiastic, to be direct, to ask good questions that gets people to correspond back, to respond back, and to get involved with us. So how good are you at the listing presentation? How good are you at showing property? The next step in our presentation or in our Mike Ferry sales system would be handling objections. You know, it's interesting because I'm a great believer that, yes, you're going to get objections when you're doing your job. It's just called life. But I'm also a great believer that the better you are at presenting, the less objections you get. I remember going to some of the seminars back in the 60s and 70s when I was an agent, and the trainers would say, if you're not getting a lot of objections, you're not doing your job. And I'm thinking, the more objections you get means you're not doing your job. If you're persuasive, if you're direct, if you're to the point, if you really discover the needs of the client, why would they object? They want to sign a contract and move with you. But at the same time, if you're going to get objections, know the answers. So we teach people the objections and the answers. The next step is closing the sale. I've got to determine my ability and when I'm going to say, would you sign the contract, please? Because you got to get the contract signed to make any progress. So now I'm managing my time. I'm prospecting, doing lead follow-up, pre-qualifying, listing property, showing property, handling objections, and I'm closing the sale. Have you noticed the natural sequence of events here that you and I have to learn in terms of our skills to become a productive salesperson? Now, everybody tells you, oh, no, you don't have to do what Mike Ferry says. Wait a minute. How do you expect to make money? Take listings and make sales and not take a common sense step-by-step approach to the sales process. So once we've closed the sale, then we have to go to the negotiation step. And I'm going to bring the two parties together. I got a willing buyer, willing seller, and I got to make sure I don't get in the way and screw it up and bring them together so they can cement this transaction, get 4 signatures, get it under contract, get it closed. And then once that has been done, the hard part is, of course, starting all over again the next day. So this 10-step Mike Ferry sales system is very defined. But what's interesting is I've talked about this to every one of these reporters and writers, and not one of them has even mentioned it. Because, see, there's no bad news in this. There's no negativity in that. There's no the world's coming to an end. The real estate market's falling apart, and I'm going to save the world from themselves. Watch. You want to make money in real estate? Of course you do. That's why you're watching this TV show each week. You want to become more productive in 2015? Of course you do. That's why you're participating. Do you want to expand your mind beyond the limits that you've set for yourself? Of course you do. Then you got to have a system to follow. And you can't go helter-skelter. You can't jump around. Well, I think today I'll put out some pumpkins in my geographic farm. And then maybe tomorrow I'll just enter something on Facebook. It's too helter-skelter. You have to have a system in effect. Every business has a system, whether it be the local bus service from one stop to the next, to the teacher teaching your kids school, to the medical profession trying to cure a disease that we hope you never get. It has to be a system in effect. So here I am spending all these hours and hours and hours with all these reporters talking about what I think is a very logical step-by-step system. And here's what they publish. When you sign a contract with the Mike Ferry organization, you have to fulfill it. If you try to break it, he's going to take you to court and win because you've signed a contract. Absolutely. If you bought a house and signed a contract, you have to make the payments. Buy a car and you sign a contract, you have to make the payments. So I don't know why they think that is a big deal. It's the system that gets you to where you want to go. It's the system that gives you the confidence to do what you have to do. Follow the system and you win the game. But next week, I want to go a step further. I want to take you beyond the obvious portion of the system we talk about all the time to what all the superstars do after they get to point 10, which is start over again each day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating. I hope you have a great Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I'm not supposed to say that, but too bad I did. Talk to you next week.